Hello and welcome back to another episode of this FM19 story, The Head Coach with me, Daniel. It's Season 2, Episode 2, and today we have a big doubleheader against two of the biggest sides in Northern Ireland and two of the only three professional clubs in the country as we play Larne Linfield at home. As always, if you are new to the channel, subscribe for daily FM19 content from our other story, part of the Furniture with Torquay United, and from this one, The Head Coach, where we're currently at Dungannon and settling in nicely to Season 2. Since you were last with me, we've had a few more games. You can see we're still doing rather well, although it was a very good start followed by a gradual drift away. So I'm not too excited just yet. We've got two more signings to talk about that our director of football rushed across at the end of the window. I can't really complain about them because he's fixed some of the problems I highlighted, although not with the best players possible. But before that, there is one player I'm very upset about, and that's this Craig Taylor. Now, he was pre-agreed before we even joined the club last December. I think it was the old head of youth development who did it, and he's given him a contract as a key player, and he's come in, and I have never seen anyone, and I include Darren Ward in this from last season at Hemel Hempstead, with a worse attitude than him. He's been absolutely terrible so far. He's made appearances, he's complained about not being in the first team. He's been offered out on loan at his request and then complained that I've not offered him out. And then accused me of lying when I said there was no one interested in him, which, as you can imagine based on his ability, is exactly what the case was. So he's still technically our backup left back due to Teggart's injury, but unfortunately we won't be seeing much of him in the future, as I'd much rather give one of the younger players in the youth team a run out, because they've got an equally high potential and, more importantly, a far better attitude to the game. Now, we did agree with the board to get an extra coach and scout in, which our director of football's currently doing. So he's offered a scout a job, Shane O'Connor, and there's a surprise, he's a Republic of Ireland man, just like the director of football. That's all he seems to bring in these days, so I have no doubts where the next coach is going to be from. He's absolutely terrible, so I don't know what warrants him being paid more than nearly all of our players, but he has got a full understanding of England, which may help us out in terms of getting young players, particularly Northern Irish players that have played in those leagues, such as Dan Rooney, who we got over the summer. But let's look at the extra two that have come in. We've got Declan Caddell on loan from Crusaders. He's on loan for the whole season and he's a very good player. He's 31 years of age now, but he's a 4-star player with 4-star ability. He's absolutely brilliant. He's a great tackler and good at marking players. He's got a decent long throw like a couple of our players, weirdly. He's a bit aggressive, which means he may be susceptible to red and yellow cards, but he's not got any just yet, and he works hard and he's got good natural fitness. So I think for this season he's going to be a very important player for us, and you can see in his few appearances he's already got a very good average rating. The other man that's coming is Connor Maxwell. We've just about fixed our left-back problem on deadline day. A 19-year-old on loan from Linfield. 3-star ability, 5-star potential. And he is rated slightly better than O'Rourke. So he's going to be making his debut for us today, before O'Rourke comes back in against Linfield, where Maxwell's not allowed to play because it's his parent club. But we'll see how he gets on, and I think he'll turn out to be a fairly decent signing too. The last thing we said we were going to mention today was training. We're doing a lot of work with the young generation we got in. You can see that two of them are in the star trainers this week, and one of them's actually in one of the worst trainers of the week. So that might not be the best example, but we've got a couple of them who are right up there as usual. If I show you in a bit more detail what I've done, firstly for rest we've made sure we get the players working to the standard of fitness they have. For our players who are in the first team who come back after games tired, we're just resting them to make sure they get back to fitness as quickly as possible. And once they get back to full fitness, we work them as hard as possible to develop them quickly. It's more strict in the under-18s, but we want to show you in the first team, as it's a bit closer to heart of what we're doing here. We've got lots of individual roles and training set up. So in terms of positions and duties, we've got most of them set up where they're not natural in the role they're playing at the moment, or the role we'd like them to be able to play or cover. And we've got a lot of individual focuses on. So a lot of players working on their attacking movement. If you go to the training bits here, it actually shows you what is working this year, which is really good, because it used to just be individual attributes. But if we hover over attacking movement, we can see it's off the ball, which is so important for wingers and strikers, anticipations and decision making. And then we've got players for shooting, which works on their finishing, their long shots, their technique. And then there's also the final third one, which works on composure and decision making, and their vision as well. The ability to look up and find that pass when you're under pressure in the final third of the pitch is such an important thing, and I'm really glad you can train it properly now. We've got a lot of the defenders working on defensive positioning or just their physicality to get bigger and stronger, as is always necessary in this league, and hopefully that will pay dividends as we go along. We've also set up some differences in the units. We've got a lot of these younger under 18 players, as for some reason there I just stopped and pointed with my finger at the screen, which of course isn't going to help you at all, so I'll do it with the mouse instead. We've got a couple of the strikers and attacking players from the under-18s. Obviously Marcel's now a first team regular, but Adam Brolly and Declan Glasgow, they came through last year in that youth intake, the golden generation, and they're going to be working with the first team now, as well as some of the defenders, Deasy, Little, Hogan we've just brought in because he was training poorly, and we want to try and get that determination up, and Billy Robinson's another one there. We've also brought in our 2 young goalkeepers with high potential to work alongside Jer Doherty. Hopefully that will pay dividends this season too, as it's probably the last season they're going to get to work with him. Okay, let's get into the Larne match. It's a big game against the team we played in the Cup semi-final last year. We nicked a win in that one. They're down in 11th this season despite having a great side, and that's because a lot of their players have been picked off by English teams, to be honest. So they are struggling a little bit in that regard, but don't be fooled, they've got a fairly good squad still. Shane McKellany, one of our heroes from Coleraine in FM19, he's out injured, and Ryan Harper's obviously ineligible because he's on loan from us, after our director of football inexplicably loaned him out to them, although he has replaced him with Cadell, who is far better. No real surprises today. We've got Doherty in goal, Maxwell's in for his debut at left back with Harkin on the right, Hegarty and Dykes are at centre half, Cadell and Clucas in midfield. We've made a slight tactical tweak which we'll talk about during the game. Campbell and McElroy are on the wings, with McKinney in behind the man who can't finish, Daniel Hughes. Let's get into the first game and we'll talk about our double ball winning midfielders as the game gets underway. We're going to give Connor Maxwell a number. We don't want to give him 9 or 10 when he's playing left back. That 3-5-2 for Larne that we struggle so much with, we're going to tell the boys to pick up where they left off because again in the international break we played a friendly. Usually it's to boost confidence, but on this occasion it's just because we weren't quite fit in a lot of positions. So the boys seem motivated based on that. There's a couple of the youngsters who are still nervous. Let's talk about the ball-winning midfielders. Basically, when Cadell came in, we had 2 midfielders who were streets above the rest of them, the 2 that are starting today. But they're both natural ball-winning midfielders. And although one of them could play as a box-to-box, that's a little bit too advanced for my liking when you haven't got a deep line player alongside. We did try Clucas as the defensive central midfielder and the playmaker, but he wasn't quite as good. So we're going to go for 2 ball winners. We've got a lower line of engagement and then we press hard when we get to it. So hopefully when they get into our half and we press quickly, having 2 ball winners will actually help. And because we're starting our defensive pressing so deep, they shouldn't get out of position too much. And hopefully our back four will still be in shape then. That's the plan, but we'll see if it comes to fruition in this one. Nearly 10 minutes gone, there's only been the 1 shot and it's still 0-0. Here we come down the right hand side with Campbell. Goes inside to Clucas. Clucas to McKinney. In that number 10 role with a little bit of space. Works some room, but has a poor effort that goes straight at the keeper Devlin. And it's still 0-0, but we've still had the only shots of the game so far. It's a goal kick for Larne. Devlin with the long clearance down towards the right. Stewart, who caused us problems in the last game in that cup semi-final last season, gets the ball into McDade. Dykes wins the ball. What's gone on there? It didn't look like a foul as the commentary said. He won the ball very clearly and we've suddenly given away a penalty. I have no idea what's happened there. Froyers has put it in the bottom corner, and talk about an injustice. When you're a small side on a smaller budget and you're trying to work hard against these big professional teams who can afford to pay their players any amount of money, we really could do without being given awful penalty decisions against us. It was a fantastic tackle by Dykes. The fact that the ball went 50 yards in the opposite direction is a bit of a clue that he won the ball. But the referee gave a penalty, and at this level, unfortunately, you have amateur officials making amateur decisions. Half an hour gone and we're 1-0 down as a result. McKinney's got the ball on the right and he's surely fouled, but again, nothing given. It's Hegarty's lost out in the air and now Stewart's in one-on-one, shoots just wide, and this referee is having an absolute laugh. You'll notice from this channel I do not often criticise the referees. Even in the press conferences I'm very polite, but in this game it's been very silly, and the penalty in particular was awful. This man's on a yellow and he better not bottle this one as well. That has to be a second yellow card. Get him off the pitch and let us get the ascendancy. Off you go, sunshine. Palmer's going to be sent off. There comes the second card, and the referee's finally got one. Jeff Hughes, the experienced midfielder, comes on. Plenty of games in the Football League in his career, but hopefully he'll be knackered by the time the game ends. A free kick for us on that right-hand side, and on a stroke of half-time, we're 1-0 down, thanks to an awful penalty decision. There we go then, very unfortunate to be behind. All we can say to the boys is encourage them. I'm not having that. Where's the passion? We'll give them that because they haven't played particularly well, but they're still so unfortunate to be behind. McKinney finds Hughes. Larne have stayed with exactly the same shape, just with the one up front instead of two. Campbell gets the ball in from the right, which Black heads away. Tilney flicks it on, and it's out for a throw-in. One thing I did notice on this screen is we've managed to lose our usual ones, the latest scores on the league table we normally have showing. But we managed to lose them somehow over the course of the summer. We've put them back on now, so hopefully that'll be okay. We're not going to change our mentality just yet, but with 15-20 minutes to go, we will do, if we're still behind at that stage. We will think about subs in a minute. McKinney's on a yellow card, and a couple of the others have had poor games, so we want to give people opportunities to make a difference if possible. Black with a free kick, which is blocked. The rebound's blocked too. Cadell it was who charged that one down. Fryers, the penalty scorer, has got the ball. Jeff Hughes, the substitute in the middle, but it's blocked, and now we can counter. McKinney coming over halfway to Campbell on the right. Campbell taking on the wing back and tries to get the cross in. It's straight at the keeper. It's a terrible cross, and as a result, we're still 1-0 down, and Larne have got possession back. Devlin with a long kick, but only finds Hegarty. McKinney again gets the ball in the middle. Acres of space in there. Finds McElroy on the left-hand side. He goes back inside to Klukas, and Klukas switches it for Campbell. Campbell's got the wing back to take on again. Gets a good crossing this time, and McElroy's wasted a brilliant opportunity. It's straight at the keeper, and it's still 1-0. Just a quarter of the game to go. We are going to make a couple of subs now. McKinney's had a poor game, so Hughes will drop in for there, and Marcel will go up front. Hopefully a natural finisher will do well in behind. We've got him working on placing his shots, Marcel, so hopefully he'll become a really strong finisher for us. Campbell's had a poor game on the right, but I haven't got Glasgow on the bench due to injury. I don't know if I've got anyone I can swap in at the moment. Craig Taylor's out as well due to his drop. We'll bring McCann on this occasion. We'll switch McElroy over to the right, and McCann can play off the left. Something which he is comfortable doing. You can see he's rated okay for it. The other one's going to be Connor Maxwell. He's looking nervous, and for a debut it's a bit of a tough game. We'll bring O'Rourke on because he knows the club a bit better, and hopefully that'll make a bit of a difference for us. We're not going to use Dan Rooney off the bench. We're saving his fitness because he may have to start in midweek. But with 10 minutes to go, we don't look like getting into it, so let's go all out attack for the last few and see if we can nick an equaliser. McElroy with an attacking free kick from the right, an in-swinger straight at Devlin, and what a waste that is when you could have just crossed it. A long clearance by the Larne keeper. Cadell wins the ball back for Daniel Hughes. Hughes over the top to Marcel on the right, but he's got no support coming. He gets the ball back to the edge to McCann. He did really well there. McCann shoots the sub-striker, and that's why he can't get a game up front. Absolutely awful, and it's behind for a goal kick. Outswinging corner with the last minute of stoppage time. Fryers heads it away as far as Hughes. Hughes has a shot from long range, but it's straight at Devlin. And we've had a lot of chances. They've just not been good ones. We've wasted so many of them. And unfortunately, we are going to lose this game. Just 30 seconds left, and I think our final chance has gone with that corner. Lothram with a long ball over the top. Harkin deals with it, but Tilney's going to get there first. And now he's got time just to waste it. Jeff Hughes keeps the ball with all of his experience, and it's going to be a narrow 1-0 defeat to Larne, despite a fairly decent second half performance. They did well to hang on with 10 men, but let's not forget that game has been cost for us by an awful refereeing decision. Jake Dykes with an absolutely fantastic tackle, and unfortunately the referee gave a penalty which they converted. We're just going to say it was one of those days, because it was a 0-0 game, let's be completely honest, and unfortunately the lads have been punished there. A disappointing result, but again not much in the games, as is so often the case in this league. And we'll be back in a second to play the very reputable Linfield, another one of the professional sides in this division. We're back for the second game against Linfield. They've had a poor start to the season, but make no bones about it, they are an absolutely brilliant side. A professional club with a huge budget. And last time we played them, we lost 5 or 6-1 at home. So hopefully there won't be a repeat of that. We can keep the score respectable if nothing else. For those of you who have noticed that I haven't shown you the schedule with our games off camera yet, don't worry about that. We'll show you at the end when we're going to pick our next episode as well. So let's get into this one. We'll look at our lineup for today. It's just the one change. Maxwell's ineligible against his parent club, so O'Rourke comes back in at left back. We've got a couple of tired players in McElroy and Harkin the right back. But last time at Nolte came in, he cost us the game, and our sub-left winger, the unprofessional Craig Taylor, has not even managed to get himself in shape for this one. So as a result, young Declan Glasgow comes onto the bench, and Lewis McCann will deputise on the left if need be later on. Let's get into this one and hope we can keep it respectable. You'll notice there we had 9 players playing in their preferred role, so if nothing else the players should be happy and have a good tactical understanding of what they're expected to do. Linfield are playing a 3-4-3. We already know exactly how we usually perform against a back three, so let's just ignore that and hope that it doesn't happen again today. We're going to add a little bit more incentive to the match by G'ing the lads up in the media room, and let's see if it makes any difference on the pitch. Stewart's got the ball forward to Mulgrew in the middle. Linfield coming straight through us on the first 10 seconds. They're going to score already, are they? No, they're not. Cooper's cross is blocked behind. Good work from David Harkin to recover, and it's a corner to Linfield. Stewart with the delivery, which Cadell heads away. As far as Ford, back out to Stewart again. He finds Ford, and his is deflected behind again for another corner. They're second in the first minute of the match. They're delivering it, an in-swinger from the left-hand side. It's headed away by Dykes as far as McElroy, and the highlight ends and we get an early breather. Just under 10 minutes gone, Doherty with a long clearance up the field. There's no one there, Mulgrew, who heads it and then jumps for some reason. Garrett's got the ball out to the right to Cairns. He's a good player, used to play for Peterborough. Delivers and Hegarty makes a good challenge. I thought they were going to give another penalty there, but they didn't. And David Harkin makes a fantastic tackle. And I can already tell this is going to be a game of clinging on. We've got a couple of warnings to close people already. One of them was O'Connor, who knocked it down for Cairns. And Cairns' shot was tipped behind brilliantly by Doherty. Stewart with a corner again for Linfield. Cadell heads away as far as Ford. He gets the ball back out wide to the corner taker Stewart, and he's challenged well by Cadell and it's out for a throw-in. We're hanging on and defending well, but how long can we realistically maintain this? Linfield with a throw on the left around halfway. Ryan McGivern, another former Northern Irish international, another good player for them. Hegarty clears the cross away, but only as far as Ford. Cooper again crosses for O'Connor, and it's just wide, but I think Doherty had it covered if it was on target. He's going to take the goal kick now. There's no real target up there, but Cadell flicks it on. Campbell loses out the second ball, and Ford can bring it back to McGivern, who can build another attack for them. McGivern finds Garrett in the middle to Mulgrew. Mulgrew's got it 25 yards out, runs through some players. Kearns back to him again. Cadell blocks the shot, and Kearns is challenged, but he's managed to keep hold of the ball. Garrett finds Mulgrew, and his shot's blocked behind for a corner. There's a lot of hard work into throwing ourselves in front of shots, and unfortunately it's not made too much of a difference thus far. McGivern with a header from the corner, and it's straight at Doherty, and thankfully we continue to survive. Stewart with a corner to Cooper, down to McGivern, it's blocked. O'Connor puts it just wide, and we've got a lot of warnings to close people down, so let's go and catch up with them. Two of them in fact. McElroy to ease off tackles, as he's already been booked again. Garrett with a free kick straight at Doherty, and although we haven't had a shot on target yet and Linfield have had 12 shots, we're still 0-0, which is the important thing. McKinney brings the ball over the halfway line and then gives the ball away. Cooper on the left finds Mulgrew and he brings it over halfway for Linfield. Mulgrew's got time to bring it back to Garrett and take the 1-2. He finds Cairns on the right hand side, who delivers for Cooper. Doherty again with a brilliant save, and Harkin deflects the rebound behind for a corner. We're still clinging on, but it's just down to Harkin and Doherty at this point. McGivern wins the header from the corner, and O'Rourke heads it off the line. 10 minutes to half time, and I'll be amazed if we get into the break without conceding. Clucas heads it away as far as McKinney. McKinney goes long, but it's straight at Hoy, the centre half, and Garrett gets it back to Stafford in the middle. Stafford brings it forward to Mulgrew, and Garrett again. Long ball over which Harkin heads away. Cooper's beaten to it by Campbell, but we can't get out. Every time we clear it, it goes straight to him. McKinney wins it back, but again it's straight back to him. He's given another penalty. Oh, Hegarty won the ball again. This is getting silly now. The big sides are getting all the decisions, and O'Connor's got a penalty again. And if this costs us 2 games in a row, I'm going to be devastated. Another one that was never a penalty in a million years. And after working so hard to cling on in the first half, we're now 1-0 down due to another awful refereeing decision. Garrett with the ball over the top, which Dykes gets on the end of. He gets the ball back to Doherty, who clears away. But again, it's relentless. There's no way of getting out. It's down for them on the edge of the box with Ford. He finds Garrett. Garrett finds Cairns. Cairns back to Garrett. They're just playing the ball around us. They've got some space with Ford, and he's put it just wide. But I'm so angry about the penalty. For the second game in a row, he just won the ball cleanly. You saw it. It wasn't even going to be mentioned. And then suddenly it's a penalty kick. Hegarty with the ball at the back brings it down well for Doherty. Doherty clears, but again, there's no pressure on Garrett in the holding role. Hegarty heads the ball away for Cadell. Cadell finds McKinney in the middle, gets it out to Hughes. He's got Campbell running off him. There's 2 getting into the box. He switches for McElroy. McElroy's lost out and is headed away. Clucas finds Cadell in the middle. Clucas gets Cadell in again. They're just playing it between the two of them at the moment. Cadell gets it out to McElroy on the switch. Into the box to Hughes. And he's wasted another brilliant chance. In other news related to Hughes, Crusaders have been linked with a £60,000-70,000 bid for him. I'd be very surprised. Oh, Klukas just puts one wide. But I'd be very surprised if he wasn't accepted for that. The director of football seems to want to get him out. I think he actually accepted one earlier in the summer, but the player rejected it. And if we get another one, I've no doubt he'll accept that too. And get some money back into the club to try and give us some manoeuvring room in the transfer window. We've just got a minute till half time. There've been some promising signs in the last few minutes, but now Campbell's got an injury and it's Linfield on the attack again. Stafford with the ball over the top, which O'Rourke will head away as far as Klukas. Down for McElroy who goes along, but it's straight at McGivern. There's no real hold-up play at all here. McKinney wins it back, but again we're in the edge of our box. Harkin clears it long, and it's the same pattern over and over again. We win it at the back, clear it long, it bounces back because Hughes is awful, and back it comes again. Harkin clears it behind for a corner, and we've just got to hold on for one at half-time. Again, as we've been cost by an awful refereeing decision. Cairns has got the ball from the corner, but his touch is poor, and it's behind for a goal kick. That is half-time, then it's 1-0. Yet again, it's a penalty in the 35th minute. That's an absolutely terrible decision to cost us. We're going to tell the boys we want to see a bit more because they've been terrible. Technically, we've been at our worst. Campbell's got an injury, so the youngster Declan Glasgow's going to get a game. We're not going to make any other changes just yet, but in 10 more minutes or so, we will freshen things up a bit. Caddle's absolutely knackered, but he's been the best player on the pitch. McElroy's not far behind, and again he's a hard worker. And as we've mentioned, we don't have much quality in the wings. The ball's been cleared long and Hughes flicks it on for once, but the highlight ends and it's still 1-0. We've got an attacking throw on the left with O'Rourke. O'Rourke gets the ball to Klukas. McKinney finds McElroy. Hughes is in the middle and he wastes another one. Why can't Daniel Hughes finish? And I'm actually at this point looking forward to Crusaders putting a bid in because I think it will change things for us if he goes, because we'll be able to get in 2 or 3 good players as O'Connor gets on the end of a delicious Cairns cross, but he puts it just wide of the post and we survive at 1-0. A few more minutes and then we will bring on the substitutes. Harkin heads the ball away, but we could be 2-0 down by then at this rate. Garrett gets the ball back to Mulgrew again. Mulgrew coming towards the edge of the box to Cairns. His shot's blocked off O'Rourke, who's actually had a decent game today, and it's behind for a corner kick. I'd say a decent game when he's got a 6.4, but he's worked hard and thrown himself in front of things. McGivern had a free header again, but he heads it over, and we're still 1-0 down as we look to make some substitutes with a quarter of the game remaining. Hughes is definitely going to be one of them. He's going to come off for Marcel, the young substitute who we bring on so often now. I know that Caddle's knackered and so's McElroy, but they've been the 2 best players, and I can't bring myself to take them off. I might bring McNulty on for Harkin, but again, Harkin's been brilliant. So it looks like we are just going to sacrifice McKinney, and we're going to bring on Dan Rooney. It does give us a chance to close the midfield down a bit more, because we're going to drop him in as an advanced playmaker on support. We've changed Declan Glasgow to an attacking winger, just because Harkin's fairly solid defensively, and it just gives us an option to try and catch them out on the break. We'll leave it till the 85-minute mark and then we'll make that change and go attacking. Dykes wins the header from the goal kick. Marcel's bringing it forward to McElroy on the left. McElroy beats his man on the wing and crosses in. The keeper comes for it and it's too easy. He's claimed it comfortably and Dean will bring it away for Linfield. Dean with the long clearance down the pitch. Dykes wins the header for Rooney who gives the ball away. And now they're in one-on-one. Stewart's got the ball back across the middle. Hegarty manages to clear though. And Garrett's got the ball in the middle of the pitch again. How many times are we going to talk about them dominating possession? Mitchell to Ford, back to Mitchell again. And Mitchell puts it wide and I've had enough now. We're going attacking and we'll see what happens. We may live to regret that as it finishes 3 or 4-0. But if we don't give it a go, we'll always regret not doing so. Mitchell's got the ball in the middle to Cooper. Cooper with the shot, but it's a long way wide. And we still survive at just 1. Here we go in the middle with Caddle. Caddle's got the ball out wide, but he's lost it. He's absolutely spent now. And unfortunately, O'Connor's in behind. He's hit the post and we survive. Doherty goes down in instalments about a minute later. Kearns gets the ball back to Stafford, who's got Stewart in behind. He's flicked it on, but Dykes puts it out. And now we've just got to see out the corner. Stewart's ball into Cairns, down for McGivern who hits the bar this time. Stewart back to Cooper and it's 2. And we're going to go back to cautious so we don't embarrass ourselves. And we're even going to time waste now as well. And hopefully we'll just see out the game at 2 because we haven't deserved to lose by more. I'm so frustrated at the refereeing decisions in this episode. It's not one that I've come across this season so far where we've had 2 really awful decisions costing us games. Rooney has the shot from the edge but it's just wide. Caddle's got the ball down for Glasgow into Marcel. The 2 youngsters combine and Marcel's put it only just wide. But that's a good sign for the future of this club. Those 2 young 17-year-olds combining absolutely brilliantly to slice through a professional defence. And they've cleared it out to the left-hand side now with Cooper. Cooper bringing the ball forward, and I hope we don't concede a third because it's not deserved at all. Rooney gets it to Cadell in behind again. Marcel will chase, but McGivern, the Northern Irish international, will get there. He clears long, only as far as McElroy on our left-hand side. Beats his man and crosses for Marcel, and Marcel's shot saved. I'm almost glad that didn't go in, because if we'd lost 2-1, I would have been mad about the decision. But that is it, we've lost 2-0. An awful refereeing decision for the penalty again, and we've just been slightly outplayed by the better side. We did create a few chances in the second half, but not much to speak about. We deserve to lose the game, but in the manner we have, it's always frustrating. Let's have a quick look at what they've said about the game. Linfield did dominate, but it was an unfortunate circumstance that led to the first goal. Reece Campbell's injury's just a few days, so that'll only mean one game for him. He'll miss the Coleraine one as a result. Marcel's not scored since his heroics at the end of last season, so we're getting a bit worried about him, and we'll do the press conference off camera in a minute. We've just got to go back and look at the schedule very quickly. We want to talk about the games we've had off camera, as well as when we're next going to come back. So obviously you were with me for that first game of the season against Cliftonville, which was followed by a good 2-2 draw where we came back from behind twice against Glentoran. Marcel's last goal for the club, and Daniel Hughes got one as well. We beat Institute 2-0 with McElroy and Hughes, and the same result against Ards, but Cadell getting a goal on his debut this time, from the penalty spot as well. Ballymena United beat us 3-1 after we went a goal ahead. Again a dodgy penalty decision, but we were already 2-1 down at that point. McKinney with his first goal in that occasion. We beat the lower league opposition in the Cup 1-0. McKinney with back-to-back goals there. We drew 1-1 away to Warren Point. Reece Campbell's early goal, cancelled out by Grant Hutchinson, who we let go in the summer. We then won our friendly before these two games that we just lost. The Larne game being particularly frustrating because it was such a bad decision. But that will be all for this episode. If you did enjoy it, please put a thumbs up on the video. Let me know in the comments what you think of our form so far this season. And how silly do I look now for being optimistic at the end of the last episode. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager content from this FM19 story, The Head Coach, as well as our other Football Manager series, part of the furniture with Torquay United. A massive thanks for watching this one as always, and we'll see you next time.